Cultural heritage today, unlike in the past, is categorized into several dimensions, mainly tangible and intangible. The intangible is usually manifested through oral traditions, performing arts, rituals, festive events, knowledge and skills to produce traditional crafts. Intangible cultural heritage is an important factor in the safeguarding and promoting of our diverse cultural identities in the face of growing globalization. Appreciating the intangible cultural heritage of Uganda's diverse communities does not only help to promote intercultural dialogue, but it also provides spaces and opportunities for mutual respect and care for other people's ways of life. This film highlights the role of 5 community museums and 1 cultural institution in the safeguarding of Uganda's resilient intangible cultural heritage elements. First, let us visit Chigulu Cultural Museum in Iganga to discover how this museum has collaborated with the community members to safeguard the Bigwala god trumpets and music.
They used to play, informing people who are here that other unknown people are living in the region. Also, it has been being performed on the period of harvesting maize, harvest of millet, and currently this is the most instrument which is performed when we are installing our king in Busoga, the Chabazinga of Busoga.
Despite the significance of the Bigwala god trumpets and music in Busoga, this cultural heritage element is in danger of extinction. To help safeguard the Bigwala, the Chigulu Cultural Museum is undertaking several initiatives of promoting this cultural heritage element.
First of all, we introduced the seeds to the community, and then the community in different places like outside Iganga as a town, in the villages there. We gave out seeds to people to plant the plant. And then after that, we also go to schools and then we train the youths. Even we have a troop which we are trying to train here so that we can go on promoting the Gwara.
As part of this initiative, the museum is using part of its land to undertake a research on the propagation of the fruit in order to have it grown at a large scale.
When it dries, we get the seedlings out of it. We plant the seeds in the soil. The seeds, we give it something like 1 month and then it will start coming out. Normally we plant it next to a tree, whereby when it starts growing, we make sure that we make it to climb on the tree, and then after something like 4 to 5 months, this fruit will come out. When it comes out, it will grow like this according to the sizes that we want to construct the Chigwara instrument. When it dries out, we take out the seeds again and we distribute them to other people, like for planting again, so that we can still have it growing and again and again.
Nabire Bigwala cultural performers at Nabire village in Bugweri district is a group supported by Chigulu Community Museum to perform the Bigwala music. The group has 3 teams of 15 persons each, made up of the elderly, youth, women and children.
Twida twawumukizaako kwawe ebirowoozo nga muziki guno guli kukuba era twaba n'engeri efunamu kukwe engeri y'enani y'akasente nga tubalina omuntu atwenze mu mukolo gwe.
Tagati abakyala mu kusinziira bwe twabona nti kya bugangwa kuba obugangwa buli ku nti omukyala n'omukazi kiba kirala kyakola ekintu kirala, kale tulina kiba kirala twabanga tugundula ekintu ekyo.
Much attention is given to teaching the young generation how to play the Bigwala using purple leaf stalks.
Ndi kugezaako okutraininga bano abato okubayingiza mu kintu ekyo nga bw'obwoine gano tube nti ife abakulu abali kuvaawo kabiri tube nti ekintu kitambula okujja mu maiso babe nga bakiikirizaamu okuva ife wetuli kabiri okweyongerayo waigulu.
From Busoga, we cross to Lango community, which has for so long treasured and safeguarded the male child cleansing ceremony, a healing ritual for a male child believed to have lost his manhood. During this ceremony, the mother and the male child spend 3 days inside the house and eat unsweetened millet porridge.
According to culture here, the first 3 days the boy child is born, the mother should not touch the genitals. Once the mother touches the genitals in those 3 days, the boy child grows up impotent. And the only way of remedying it is to return him back into the house for 3 days so that he behaves, or it's like he was born just that very day, born again, and they start the process of the 3 days. When the boy is coming to ease himself in the toilet or to bathe himself, they will be coming with the winnower, the one used for sorting grains from the husks. And the idea is that the winnower is sorting the bad elements in him and retaining the good. Within 3 days, the ceremony is over and we see a boy coming back to life. This practice only happens here in Lango, but we find it works wonders once the ceremony is performed.
Currently, there is no community museum in the Lango sub-region to provide spaces for promoting the ceremony, but the Lango Cultural Institution has consistently promoted the practice among its community members.
Lango Cultural Foundation has launched their 5-year strategic plan, and this is one of it falls under strategy 2 of promoting, conserving and promoting Lango cultural practices. We are going to start now doing those things that give us the identity and keep us going, like the cultural gala we will be having here at the cultural center, and any other practices. 2, we are going to keep documenting so that even as a youth you can read about this practice. So we will be linking up with the education department, with the media, and with other cultural institutions so that we compare notes.
The Madibo Laya dance and music is another resilient intangible cultural heritage element highly treasured by the Madi people who inhabit both the banks of River Nile and in northwestern Uganda and in South Sudan. Given its rarity and importance, the instrument was inscribed by UNESCO on the list of elements that need urgent safeguarding in 2016.
The music and the dance is played whenever there is a wedding, traditional wedding at home, where a young boy gets married and people celebrate their marriage. 2, whenever people harvest, good harvest. You may have about 3 to 4 granaries of zinas, maybe of semi-sim, maybe of millet, maybe of sorghum, something like that. Thirdly, also, especially when new babies are born, When one babies are born, during the naming of the new baby, people also celebrate. When a clan wins a war, clan member wins a war, that is how people also come to celebrate. So there are a number of reasons, roles why they want to safeguard this OD.
The OD instrument is made by a tortoise shell which acts as a sound chamber. The production of the instrument is marked by several rituals and blessed by a special meal. The pebbles taken from the quarrelsome woman's compound are placed inside the sound chamber to act as shakers and produce sounds similar to that of a quarrelsome woman.
Mido pale, modi pamido, odi pale, kinyam dito ulimbia ne in nasi. Hari odi di mapa paka, ay odi di to Kampala. Kampala saya me podira. Eke ma bejisato. Disi, ale boronzi. Draudu disi, ma utile ribati te angweri kondreki tadi oviru ondreki joadu ara. Kole kobiki lidinani ma ini odi ni tema odi ni mi dema.
Ewo madiriga ode de ka dungo ite de amane ni diaro voare tokarasi amala dravo eturu vozo ha andro odi de okuni dungo aruyo dra dungo ko erura amala tatiruga dra parliament asa okukata juri ami de onti odi de ara metito de anire.
In that regard, Madi Community Museum in Moyo Town is undertaking several initiatives to safeguard Madibo Laya dance and music.
We invite the young boys to educate them, train them how to play the music, and also know how to construct the OD, the kind of materials they use. We also let them know so that they keep this idea for their future generation.
As a government worker, one is we have sensitized the community to uphold their culture. We should not just throw the culture away. And during functions, we encourage people who know how to play the instruments to come and entertain the people.
Our next destination is Bunyoro, the area for the Banyoro who live in western Uganda to the east of Lake Albert. They inhabit the present-day districts of Hoima, Masindi, Chibale, Chiliandongo, Ulisa, Kagadi, and Kakumiro. One of the most important common identity of the Banyoro, Batoro, Banyabindi, Batuko, and Batagwenda is their Empako.
We have 12 Empako names. We have Akiki, Amoti, Aboki, Abala, Atenyi, Atwoki, Apuli, Arali, Okali.
Omuntu bwakweta Empako kimanyisa ekitinisa kyawe kyole kyengonzi n'okuwira haihi n'omuntu ogwo. Bwakweta Empako kimanyisa akumanyire muno kandi kyole kyana ekitinisa n'engonzi.
When a child is born, the first process of naming is not complete until you have a pet name. And that's why I think it is part of what I would call evidence or belonging to this community of Bunyoro.
And even if you come from outside Bunyoro, when you come, we welcome you by giving you the Empako name. It shows that we have appreciated for your being here, we have welcomed you, and we have put you under the Bunyoro community.
Although many of them still use Empako, it has been established that the ceremonies performed for one to acquire Empako have dwindled.
Omwana azalwa amalebiro bina bwabali mwojo. Baitu omungeso hikire tubyama hasi okumalenda kwina. Nitulinda kana kaitu akano bakaheha nibasoroze ebintu nibabiteeka omunju. Hanyuma bwabali muisiki tumalenda ku isatu. Bwetukiya kuturukiya tukiya kiro kya kasatu obe kya kane ekyo tuturukiya kana ako nitukatwara kukabyalira.
omuko gukora mulege omuko gukutambirege buli bizibu byona kandi gukusingirege hona maiso hona gukurwanirege buli kintu kyona mu mbeere nungi.
Tulibyala ekitooke oba tusobola kubyalaho omutoma omulingo gwaitu biyegyo babandi bakaheha niho babireeta aho. Hanyuma ekitooke kyera kitera kuba kulibwa munabo omunju.
Kubyala ekitooke kino nikyo kirakuyambaga buli kizibu kyona.
Uganda twikara kutuma omwana ogu eibara tugarukire omunju. Tumazire garuka omunju Uganda tumire eibara n'empaako tumuhaire n'ebisembo tuturuka tuleta ekihuro ekyokubanza. Ekihuro ekyo kyabaga omugobe gutali mu munyu. Hanyuma nibateekaho enanga enyama nitulya n'okunywa nitunywa ku bintu ebyabahogo. Nitusemererwa omwana akozire azairwe ati aho nibo twagenda kunaaba kurungi kugaruka buli muntu akatabuka byame omukoro gonya tugumazire.
Despite the relevance of the Mpako in Bunyoro, this cultural heritage element is under threat. To help safeguard it, Rural Communication and Development Program URDT opened up the Cultural Assets Center, a museum to provide information and activities aimed at promoting the Mpako naming ceremony and the entire Bunyoro culture.
Museum enu ekonyera kwolekya Empako mugaso gwazo obutuba tugenzera hakuswera ebintu ebiri muno na muno nk'ebita ebyo bacwa amarogo okuswera biba hano mukyaro biba bitaliyo ajja hano nabipangisa ntubimo kandi ndengaho kubirangira buli bunkagenda mu rediyo ekiro cyange kya rediyo kibaho ndengaho kugendamo nimbasobora bogenda kuswera obanza omanye Mpako y'omwisiki wawe neya sozara.
We have also the recordings that tell the process and the whole function about the Mpako naming ceremony.
In the south of the Bunyoro Kingdom is Toro Kingdom, established in the 1830s by one of the princesses of Bunyoro. Among the Banyoro and the Basongora, who were once part of the Bunyoro Kingdom, the oral tradition of Kogere is still important.
So in history of Toro, very few prominent women who surfaced. They used to be more or less like slaves. Their work is just to cook, to produce children, to cultivate, that is all. But one prominent lady called Kogere, that Kogere was almost believed to be a supernatural creature or being because she did very wonderful things in Toro history, collecting and creating cultural symbols. She had a big herd of cattle, unnumbered, almost like a king. She could at times walk up and milk. She could serve her people. She could do wonderful things in history, which actually are very, very fundamental to this kingdom.
The tradition was inscribed in 2015 by UNESCO as one of the intangible cultural heritage elements in need of urgent safeguarding because of its relevance. The oral tradition is a source of identity to the communities of the Basongora, Batoro, and the Banyoro. Currently, the Kogere Foundation Museum provides spaces through which young people are able to access information about the tradition.
Yangabuza Toro came up with the competition of Kogere. Why they decided to bring that competition? Because of the Kogere, whom we are still remembering 1,500 years ago. So we competed. And me, I became the first Kogere in 2003, 2004. After being the first Kogere, I sat with my elders. So we decided to have a Kogere Community Museum so that it can educate more people in Toro Kingdom. Even the tourists always come and learn. The students always come and learn. We always have an annual event. We call it Akaswaka Toro. That Akaswaka Toro, where we bring young people to train them about culture and norms, and also to train them to know more about what exactly the Kogere whom we are still remembering, what she was doing, what exactly can they pick from that knowledge of Kogere.
In Uganda Kingdom, the skill of backcloth making is still vibrant and important, just like many other Chiganda cultural practices. The skill of the backcloth making involves transforming the backcloth of a motuba tree, Ficus natalensis, into a piece of cloth-like material that can be used to make various other items out of it to perform many other functions, such as adornment of cultural celebrations. Traditionally, craftsmen of the Ngonge clan, headed by Kabogoza, the hereditary chief craftsman, have been manufacturing backcloth for the Buganda royal family and for the rest of the community.
Jajjaffe bwe yavumbula omuti n'aguggyako ekikuta n'agutwala n'agukubakuba ne guvaamu bulungi nnyo olugoye n'ayigiriza muganda we Kaboggoza, era Kaboggoza omulimu ogwo n'agutwalira ddala mu maaso, era yakomaga embugo ezambalwa Abaganda, yambalwa Kabaka, Abalangira n'Abambejja. Era omulangira nga n'alira Obuganda tukomaga olubugo ne lutwala tuluwa Mugema n'amusumika n'aluka afuuka Kabaka alidde Obuganda.
The Baganda developed the skill and spread it to some of the nearby communities such as the Basoga, Banyoro, Batoro and the Madi.
Tugezezzaako nnyo abavubuka abato nabo tubateeke mu pulogulaamu tubayigiriza okukomaga. Abamu ku bo bafuna obudde ne bajja, naye abamu bwe babeera ku ssomero oluusi bakomawo ate babeera ku mirimu emirala.
Mukomaga kuno tufuniremu tutunda embugo ne tufunamu ssente ne batusasulira school fees. Nkubira omulanga bavubuka balala okuyiga okukomaga kubanga bituyigiriza emirimu gy'omutwe ne tufunamu ssente ne tugulamu ebyetaago bye twagala.
Ffe ng'abakyala obuvunaanyizibwa bwe tulina mu kukomaga kutunga wabawayulise n'okwanika n'okwanula. Tusanzeemu obuzibu nti abasinga tebaagala bagamba by'abasajja. Nze nfunyeemu kubanga nfunamu ssente. Omwami wange bw'akomaga bw'atunda tufuna ssente ne tuweerera abaana.
A number of interventions have been made to promote this viable element, and there is need for value addition for the product.
The Uganda Matters University Museum is conducting promotional programs involving the display of backcloth making artifacts and reach-out programs in schools with the craftsmen.
Twali tumaze ku identifyinga amasomero tugende nga tuwangayo lessons mu biseera ebigere tuyigirize abaana skill ey'okukomaga nga bwe bayigiriza skill endala zonna bakubajja oba okutunga oba kiki. Era natuukako university ne tukola enteekateeka ne tu identifyinga amasomero getugenda okukoleramu pulogulaamu eyo.
It's about time that the communities built these important icons of our identity to promote local development that is rooted into the local context.
The community museums intend to promote these intangible cultural elements by organizing exhibitions, organizing competitions and awarding winners, conducting radio talk shows, and having community video shows.
The youth, I'm urging them to learn the instruments. After learning, they use it to entertain people, to send a message to people, It is the instruments that were used by our cultural past, and it should continue being used.
The message I have with the cultural leaders, the government leaders, opinion leaders is to go on educating our young generation on the importance of having our culture not to fade completely off.
Now, government, instead of destroying these artifacts, they would preserve them and then they recognize them as heritage sites so that the people can go there and tour. It can also be a source of income.
I would pray and appeal and encourage the youth of Toro Kingdom, boys and girls, even the middle-aged, to see that they join the Kogere, to see that they can always support their day-to-day activities by the technical know-how of culture.